Hello everyone and welcome along to the T6 Porsche GT3 Championship here on T6 Motorsport. We are live from the Daytona International Speedway, a historic venue located in Daytona Beach, Florida, slap bang next to the airport. This is the seventh and penultimate round of the championship, and of course qualifying will come first to set the grid, and then we have two action-packed races lined up for you, 25 minutes apiece, and the second grid will be partially reversed, amount randomly decided during the first race. My name is Ashley Denman, sat alone in the comms lounge this evening, and of course bringing you this fantastic coverage, and the very championship itself is Rich Weatherall, who will be keeping everything running behind the scenes. If Formula One didn't scratch your racing itch today, then I'm sure this event will. So strap in, get comfortable, find yourself a drink, maybe a low-calorie snack today to get that beach body ready for the summer, because here we go. Why don't we start off and take a look at the current standings as they lie here for the Porsche Cup Series, and Cedar Weyer still out front and by quite some margin, some 32 points over Vlad Tokarev, 193 and 161 respectively. Third on the agenda is Callum Cripps with 138, and then keeping it pretty close from thereafter, Alessandra Kappa and Johan Kurjan. Kurjan definitely on a run of form after last event at the Oschersleben. Sixth position, though, is going to be Fraser Hart in the Brabham Fassetti on 101. And then dipping into the double digits, no longer in the triples, Alex O'Grady currently sitting 7th. Kyle Graff is 8th. Tobias Hoffman 9th on 94. That's a pretty close, intense battle there. And Chris Gravett rounding out our top 10. And in terms of the team standings themselves, I'll bring that to you in just a moment, because we're going to look at this iconic venue on its own. Track length 3.56 miles or 5.72 kilometres. Current track record holder is Alex O'Grady of a 1:43.912. Mighty impressive lap indeed. Some very notable corners here, of course. Turn 1, tricky as you are entering at full speed. The horseshoes 1 and 2, but turns 3 and 5 there. Brilliant overtaking opportunities. Of course, the Le Mans chicane, or if you more commonly known it as the bus stop, and then the iconic banking sections that you have here. Turn 13 there being very notable, and of course you are absolutely flat out when you go around them. And clear weather all around, 27 degrees. What do you expect for Florida? Nice hot weather. That is exactly what we are being treated to here this evening. And maybe I can bring up on my screen here the team standings themselves whilst we witness the final few minutes here in qualifying. Brabham Motorsport leading the charge with 274, with the sister team Brabham Motorsport 2 on 201, 73 point advantage there. That's Hoffman and Weyer for the first team, Kurjan and Cripps for the second. Then we get third place Mixed Wheels on 143 with Fassetti X Brabham in fourth on 123. Unlimited Esports 2 is fifth with Boyd Transport Racing sixth. That's Snowden on his own there. Richards and Co is Callum Wilson and Callum Cripps. I think that may be slightly outdated there with the team drivers, but either way, Richards and Co there seventh. Unlimited Esports eighth. Rapture Virtual Racing ninth, and Craven Racing is 10th. So just to give you a brief idea of how these team standings are doing. Let's have a look at qualifying itself, though. Cedar Weyer on provisional pole as it stands for the time being. 3 minutes left on the clock. Vlad Tokarev second, and Alex O'Grady. Zuhalau gets it all wrong there. Through the bus stop, over the grass, into the barrier. And I think that proves a very solid point early on. It takes no prisoners. You really do need to nail it to get your lap together around this circuit. It might seem a bit out of place, that bus stop. You think it might be there just for safety reasons, and I think partially it is, but also it is a testament to skill, as you really do need to nail your braking zone as you're coming around that part of the circuit flat out, top speed in your car, and then you've got to navigate a very tight chicane with no runoff area. So really is testing the skills of everybody out there. As Kurjan jumps up to third fastest now, and looking pretty tight at the top four separated by only 3/10 of a second. This is Tobias Hoffman currently sitting 7th, though, making his way through the Le Mans bus stop chicane. And now on to the banking. Fantastic banking it is as well. I can tell you the amount of degrees it is, if you like. 31 degrees as you go through the turns, or if you're on the start finish, so the front straight as they call it, around this tri-oval layout, it's about 18 degrees, so not quite as steep, but certainly is enabling the cars to get up to some speed as they fly their way through and towards turn number 1. Let's pick up here then with Colin Messina, mixed wheels, currently at the back, but setting personal best as he's rounding the final banking turn and onto the front straight itself, flying under the catch fencing there, looking down from the grandstands. Where did he go with that time? 10th fastest for Carlo. I think he'll be wanting a bit more improvement out of it, but definitely time to be found there. 1.2 seconds off the provisional pole time, still set by Cedar Weyer. And we've got a minute left on the clock. Callum Cripps, 17th. I would argue maybe a bit out of position there as well. But on a personal best in the first sector, only a 10th down on that one. Let's see what he can do as he's rounding the back edge of the circuit onto the back straight now and up to that bus stop chicane. And like I say, it really is tricky to nail, but if you can nail it, it will definitely make or break your lap. Looking pretty neat and tidy as he finds his way through that section. Is it going to be green in the middle sector? Yes, it is, only losing another 10th or so. This is definitely sort of top 5 worthy at the moment for Cripps. And the final sector here, I'm pretty sure everybody should be almost identical in lap times around that final sector there. You are just flat out for the entirety of it. It really is important to get a good exit out of the bus stop. Cripps goes 5th though for the time being, and he does have a chance to set another lap. Whether he does or not, we'll have to wait and see. As Kappa now up to the line, what has he got left in his lovely green liveried car? 7th fastest for him. Italian maybe looking to make a bit of amends. Had a few disappointing rounds last few out, I feel, but certainly I'm sure if anyone can bounce back as quickly, he certainly can. Sebastian Hurtis crosses the line. Where does he put the Bumblebee? I'm trying to find his name now. He goes 5th fastest. That's a good lap from Hurtis there. I think he'll be mighty impressed with that one. Mixing it in amongst the front boys. Alan Axon personal bests in the first sector. Currently 13th. Qualifying is over if you haven't realised already. So if you're not on a lap now, it's too late. Alan Smith rounding the final banking curve onto the front stretch. Where can he put his Craven racing machine? Here he comes up to the start finish line now. Personal best 1 and 2. Still not good enough for any improvement though. Will be at the back there in 17th position. Cursion up to the line, middle fastest sector, but no improvement, stays where he is. Well, he did improve, but he didn't improve his position is what I'm getting at. So still 3rd fastest, but closed the gap to the front two. Front two already in the pit, so no changes from those guys. Anybody out there that can respond, it's going to be O'Grady, Gravette, potentially Kappa. Uhalau's just set his time, goes 15th, so a little improvement from him. Not a major one. Gravette up to the line, trying to shorten the circuit as much as he can, getting close to the skirt in the middle. And no improvement for him. Goes faster, but not enough to change his position. So stays 7th there. And I think that is everybody over the line. Certainly looks like it. We know Smith finished his lap and everyone else in the pit lane. There he goes, jumps in as well. Qualifying, done and dusted, people. And Cedar Weyer takes pole position, gains an extra point, and he'll be very happy with that one. Only 17th hundredths over his championship rival in Vlad Tokarev. And Johan Kurjan takes that podium spot there in 3rd for qualifying. Alex O'Grady 4th, Sebastian Hurtis 5th, Callum Cripps, Chris Gravette, Alessandra Kappa, Tobias Hoffman and Kyle Graf rounding out your top 10 there. Before we get to the back end of things, Matteo Dentella, Carlo Messina, Alan Axon, Nicholas Barelle, Radia Uhalau, Samuel Newhouse and Alan Smith. Don't worry about that because we'll bring the grid up before we get under green conditions just to make sure no one forgets how qualifying ended for everybody. As we get to now have the fabled onboard lap as they get 5 minutes here, the drivers, just the final warm-up prep, get their eye in, get their head in the game. and get ready for 25 minutes, 25 minutes I should say, races around this circuit. This is Alessandro Cappa we're going to take an onboard view here with, and you can see here the pit lane, of course following it round the first sort of horseshoe of turn 1 and then through the chicane of 2 and 2. They don't count it as 2 and 3, I don't know why, but either way, here we go. And then onto the power, out of the exit of 2 and towards the international horseshoe here of turn number 3. The infield section is where we should see most overtakes being done. Of course, that's where the majority of the heavy braking is being done, barring the bus stop. But it really is only one line through there. You have to be majorly alongside if you want a chance of even making a move. You rarely ever see it. But when you do, it really is something to behold. Second horseshoe there, the west horseshoe. And then before you get down this very short burst of speed in the straight, turn 6 and 7, and then you're up onto the banking and using it to its full advantage to get the car up to speed. Foot flat to the floor, keep it as close as you can to the apron there at the bottom of it. So you want to aim for that yellow line and get as close to it as you dare without actually touching it. Shorten the circuit as best you can, and you get this long back straight before you get to a really heavy brake zone. This is that Le Mans bus stop chicane, and oh, you might see him overtake here down the inside. Yeah, 2 didn't quite go into 1 there for Kappa. I'm trying to work out who that was. One of the Unlimited Esports. They're going to back out of this lap. It's a real shame because it was looking pretty good there. But either way, maybe we can finish it off here with Kurjan as he's coming around that back banking now. But you can see what I mean. It is very tricky to attempt a move alongside another car, and if you do get it wrong, you generally are going to be bouncing over the grass, or worse still, finding yourself into the barrier. Of course, modern day, they have paved it over, which I think personally is an absolute travesty. But the grass is still here to stay for rFactor 2, so you have to be as close as you can without getting too friendly. And then round the final banking, your foot is flat to the floor again. Of course, you wanted the exit of the bus stop to be sublime, because it's going to give you the all-important extra bit of momentum and speed as you round the banking onto the front straight. And you can see there it banks ever so slightly, but up to the start-finish line. And what they're doing here, ladies and gentlemen, they're getting a practice start in, because it is going to be a standing start, no rolling grid to begin this one. And of course, it is 18 degrees of banked road, so you can very easily, well, loop the car around if you get it wrong. Of course, you're aiming towards the middle of the circuit where the apron is, so that's what they're doing there. They're just getting their eye in for that one, because it is going to be very interesting to see how they all get away when we get to the green racing conditions. And then, of course, down to turn 1, very wide entry. It invites overtaking, and I do love that about this circuit, that turn 1, it really does invite you in. And, of course, it's primarily used for endurance racing, this part of the circuit, when we get to the infield and whatnot. So you do see a lot of GTPs, or LMDHs, darting down the inside of the GT3s or the LMP2s under the braking load, because that is where most of the time is gained and lost. Of course, at the top end as well, but we're not talking about that. We're here to see these Porsche Cup cars do their absolute best and see what the drivers can do under the tricky conditions, I would somewhat say, around this circuit, simply because they don't have ABS, they don't have traction control, so they are at the whimsy, you could say, of their skill. But they all do seem to have it in bucketfuls here, so fair play to all of them. While we're in the downtime here, let's just have a quick mention of our sponsors, and a big thanks to Phoenix Sim Racing and Demon Tweaks. More about them later on as we get ready here for the formation lap, and let's take a look at that grid once again to see where everybody lines up. Pole position, though, of course, was Cito Weyer and his championship rival Vlad Tokarev alongside him on that front row, with Johan Kurjan and Alex O'Grady on flying form on the second one, third and fourth. Fifth is going to be Sebastian Hurtis, a very impressive qualifying from him once again, and Callum Cripps keeping him company there for sixth position. Chris Gravett and Alessandro Cappa, seventh and eighth. A little bit of work to do, but still a decent effort. Tobias Hoffman is ninth, with Kyle Graf rounding out that top 10. And then we get to Matteo Dentella and Carlo Messina rounding out the sixth row with 11th. 11th and 12th. I was bang on. Alan Axon there, though, 13th with Nicholas Barelle, 14th in the Team Raptor Virtual Racing, with Raider Uhalau 15th and 16th position there was indeed Samuel Newhouse. And on his own at the back, Alan Smith for Craven Racing, and I will give it to him. Fantastic job on the livery. Let's see what you can do in this race, as you've got the entire field in front of you, so nothing to lose. They make their way onto the backstretch of the circuit. And why don't we mention then the sponsors once again? Phoenix Sim Racing, a non-profit organisation set up and designed to help and support people with disabilities get into motorsport with their adaptive systems to accommodate anybody's requirements, albeit through esports, sim racing, or even getting out on the real circuits themselves in real life machinery. So Phoenix Sim Racing, fantastic organisation, go check them out. And who can forget Demon Tweaks, as they are able to offer the most complete and innovative motorsport, car tuning and motorcycle product range available worldwide. No matter if you're looking for your first time stuff on a track day, or you are a seasoned racer looking for the latest gear, Demon Tweaks have all the products for you, so big thanks to our sponsors there. That pretty much sums it all up as we get round the final banking curve, 12-13. Don't ask me why they count it as two corners, but they do. And they'll line up and get ready to go. They're coming in at some speed. It almost looks like they are going for that rolling stop, but no, they will stop. Don't know where, because there's not going to be any marks on the grid. So as far as I can tell, it's a bit of a guess from me, but they will obviously have a bit of a better insight. That's Kurjan, very forward it seems. He's so close to the back of Weyer. They're going to angle it slightly to the left as well to use the momentum of the banked curve, or the momentum of the car down the banked curve, to try and get a little bit of extra pace early on up and running. This is going to be fantastic to watch and see, because turn one, of course, it's very wide entry. It tightens up onto the apex itself. But here they go, engines revving, the klaxons on. And it's green racing conditions now. And Vlad Tokarev, what an absolute dream of a start from him. But Weyer's still going to have that inside line as they rocket down towards turn number one. Tokarev already ahead of Weyer before they even get to the real braking zone. And he takes the lead then into turn number one. Weyer absolutely powerless to do anything there. And what a start from Vlad Tokarev. Further down the field, cars jostling for position. Kurjan got away very cleanly indeed. Hurtus, O'Grady also keeping it nice there. And Weyer's now trying to fight back at Tokarev into the first horseshoe. Here comes the dogleg. Lights are flashing. You don't often see them side by side through here. Can they just about manage it? Yes, they do. Tokarev over the curb, and this allows Weyer to get down his inside. Kurjan trying to follow. And that little bit of momentum loss from Tokarev over the curb has cost him the position, and it might cost him another one now. To turn number 6, inside line for Tokarev. He's going to try and muscle Kurjan out onto the marbled stuff. He just about manages to do it. Weyer trying to just rocket away now. Do not know how he managed to get back past Tokarev, because Tokarev got an absolute dream getaway there. But Weyer fought back ferociously and has retaken that lead. And this is now a slipstream game. We haven't seen this really. Oh, I say really, we haven't properly seen this at any circuits where slipstream really does come into full effect. But this is one of those circuits where it will. You are maxed out top end speed by the time you get round the second part of the banking and then onto the straights themselves. And then slipstream will definitely come into effect. The car in front punching a hole through the air. And if you're sat behind, you're just loving the low pressure. You're able to pull up alongside. Let's see how powerful it is really, though, in the rFactor 2 model. Didn't look like Kurjan was really gaining anything into that corner. O'Grady under pressure from Hurtus, though. Kappa's managed to gain a few positions. He's up to 6th now. Cripps 7th. Gravette 8th. Graf is 9th. And Dentella the top 10. The Rodriguez International Horseshoe for the second time. Field very close indeed still. I would expect that to be like it for the majority of the race. But who knows? And I say I expect it to be like that because it is such a quick circuit. The corners, of course, you really do have the main racing line. You can take them a bit odd if you want, but you are going to be losing time. And so the majority of these drivers should be able to nail the very heavy braking zones. So it shouldn't be too big of a disparity in lap times between them all. But you can see there, we're just edging out ever so slightly over Tokarev. 8 tenths is the gap. If qualifying was anything to go off, though, there should be nothing between them. Matt Richards, to answer your question in the chat there, I will potentially get Rich to tell me in my ear very shortly about if you can possibly get in for the final round. If not, it won't be too long and they will be starting up once again. So you'd have to keep tuned for more details, but do keep an eye on things though, Matt, because there certainly will be stuff to come later on in the year for certain. There we go, over the start-finish line, and once again, Weyer leading with a slightly comfortable margin over Tokarev in second, Kurjan third, fourth O'Grady, fifth Hurtis, no change for the top 5. Then we get Kappa, Cripps, Gravett, Graf, Messina now is your top 10. I'm not too sure what happened to Dentella though, he's down in 14th, losing out a few positions as yellow flag we're seeing. Can you see anything in the background? Maybe down towards turn 1, I think there was a car slightly round. I think that is Smith. We can see the gap opening up between him and Borelli. 19, 20 seconds. Yeah, he's definitely had something go wrong there. Oh, that's a lock-up for Kappa. That's opened the door for Cripps there to get on the inside. Can he stay side by side? They're down towards the next corner of turn number 6. Kappa is going to have the advantage. Can Cripps maybe do the up and under once again? No, not on that occasion, but he's definitely a lot closer now. If he can really nail this next couple of corners, and you do have to finesse the banking, otherwise you will lose a bit of time, then potentially we will see him get heavy late on the brakes and absolutely send it on Kappa. Going to be tricky to do. You need to have confidence to do it as well. Cripps having a look down the inside into the bus stop. Yeah, thinks better of it though on this occasion. He's going to aim to get a better exit and have a look at it down towards turn number 1. That would be key, and I think the ideal way to go about it. I'll just have to keep an eye on whether he does go for it. This is the gap between Kurjan and Tokarev, 0.4 of a second. Weyer only 0.6 in front, so nothing really separating the top 3. Small gap back to O'Grady in 4th, and then him and Hurtis, absolutely nothing separating them. You can throw a blanket on them. 0.1 is the gap between the pair of them. Through the first corner, still bumper to bumper. Kurjan close slightly into the back of Tokarev there, into 1. Doing it again there into the horseshoe. They've got a nice gap back, a nice battle going on back here. Just trying to work out who that is. It's the unlimited drivers, Dentella, Newhouse, Axon, Borelli. There we go. 13th, 14th, 15th and 16th. Door-to-door stuff there between Newhouse and Axon. I think Axon just lost a bit of momentum because of it. Newhouse through. Oh, and round goes Dentella. Oh, and there goes Newhouse following him. Oh, synchronized spinning from the pair of them. Newhouse lost the rear wing. I don't think Dentella was as worse off, sorry. He's back on the circuit racing again. I do not know how much damage he's got, if any, but oh dear. Sometimes that's just the way racing is. One goes and the other follows. I'm getting told Smith has retired from the race. Tough break for Alan there. Maybe he'll fare better for race number 2. I hope he sticks around for it. He's got an idea of how to get the start going now, at least. It's just a matter of keeping that momentum all the way through for 25 minutes. Quite difficult to do sometimes. See Newhouse in the pits. I'm getting confirmation as well. He has also decided to retire, but I mean, he had a broken rear wing. I'm not too surprised with that one. The gaps, though, between all the drivers, very nicely compact. This is the lead train between Weyer, Tokarev and Kurjan. Half a second between all of them. Small gap back to O'Grady there in 4th. He's being hounded by Hertus, although I think that gap has opened up slightly as well. Kappa seems to be a little bit on his own in 6th. But I think Cripps is trying to keep him company. Gravette also lurking in the background there. As we ride on board here with Kurjan, 3rd position, looking at the back of the pink Porsche of Tokarev onto the banking then. On lap number 5, trying to work out quick maths how many we're going to get. I think it's going to be about 14 if my maths is on point, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. Just over 16 minutes to go still in this race number 1. Kurjan closing in to Tokarev into the bus stop. Tokarev's rear stepping out there ever so slightly. I think that is the fastest way you take these cars though on the rFactor 2 simulator. I don't know. I can't answer that question because I hate to admit it. I am a iRacer when it comes to actually using the steering wheel I own. But whichever simulator you use, this sort of racing is mighty impressive stuff. It is a little bit down to personal preference. These guys, though, certainly know how to put a car, particularly a tricky car such as a Porsche Cup, rear-engined, likes to step out on you. No ABS, no traction control, and still hammer it around here at such tremendous speeds is really impressive stuff. Oh, that's Kurjan getting it a little bit out of shape through the international horseshoe. That's going to allow O'Grady to close up. O'Grady with the fastest lap as well. So at the moment he picks up the extra point there. It also means he has closed in on that front pack. It's now a front 4 instead of a front 3. This is the battle slightly behind. Sebastian Hertus leading this train. Kappa, Cripps and Gravette all in it. The front 4 are together. The second 4 are together. And you get a little bit of a gap between the drivers. Graf, Messina, a bit more comfortable in where they are. Round the banking. Oh dear. Apologies, I felt like my mic was disappearing for a second. It turns out it hasn't, so don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. I am still here. We'll still bring you this coverage this evening. had a moment of worry though that blushed over me, but it's all gone now, so don't worry. I'm sure a couple of drivers though might be worrying, especially if they've got someone else looming large in the rear, and that is certainly going to be Kurjan here. He's got. No, sorry, not Kurjan. I do apologise. That is Cripps. He's got Gravette lurking large in his rearview mirror. But equally, you could say that Kappa is also going to be feeling it, and so is Hertus, because they've got more cars in their mirrors. As they go through turn number 1 again, Cripps, they're getting awfully close to the back of Kappa's car. Oh, that's over the grass, though, there for Gravette. Getting a little bit out of shape on the exit of 1 and through 2. Looks as though he kept it clean, though. Picks it all back up and will continue on. And this is now between O'Grady and Kurjan through the dogleg of 4 and into West Horseshoe, turn number 5. Patience is the game of this corner. Before you get foot flat to the floor on the power, it's tricky. It plays mind games on you, that corner. It certainly does. If you go too early, before you know it, you are in the grass. Back onto the banking. Slipstream now, full effect once again. Can anybody close up, get close enough, or maybe even alongside to the back of the car in front to potentially have a sniff at sending a move? Looks as though it may have opened slightly. I think Grady there not getting the exit he was looking for out of turn 7. Through the bus stop now, though. Does look fantastic, and as the sun sets over Daytona Beach, it may start to get a little bit into the twilight hours. Potentially the sun getting in the eyes of a couple of drivers. That's going to be interesting to work out. You should see it roughly there. I think it might even be too low to see it now. So I think they might have got away with that one. This is Cripps though, back of Kappa in front. Heavy braking zone coming off of turn number 1. You can see there the car's maxed out at pretty much 290 kilometers an hour. Who is bravest on the brakes and getting it tucked into the corner? I think Hertz has gone slightly wide in front. No, he hasn't. He has kept it on the road. Just the slightly differing lines from the different drivers. As here goes Cripps down the inside into the international horseshoe. Caught Kappa a little bit napping. Can he hold on to it though, as they now drive their way towards the dog leg of the left-hander? Kappa slightly ahead. Now Cripps going to be having that inside line though for the second horseshoe with that slight advantage. Who's going to be later on the brakes? It's pretty neck and neck as they round their way through the apex. Kappa is just about going to lose out though. Cripps managing to come through. And Cripps gaining that position there. 6th place for the Brabham Motorsport driver. Oh, loses a bit of momentum on the exit of 7. Is that going to cost him? I don't think it will. I think he got away with that one. But wow, what a move. That all started through turn number 1 and it finished out of turn number 7. Fantastic racing. You really do need to line them up. You can't just go for it willy-nilly. If there is such a pace advantage, then yes, you can. But if you're all similarly paced, you need to outfox your opponent. And Callum Cripps did just exactly that. "11 minutes to go here for race number 1. I'm sure within the next sort of 5 or so, we'll work out how many cars are going to be for that reverse grid. A random number of between 6 and 12. And with 17 cars in the race, well, not anymore, unfortunately, we've got 15. Is that too much for Cripps? He's round, he tags Kappa. Kappa off into the grass. Gravett is through. Through goes Gravett, through goes Graf. Hoffman also very close by. Dear, oh dear, and just like that, oh, the house of cards comes tumbling down. Cripps back into the race already. Kappa, he's not going to be a happy bunny, but he was just along for the ride, did nothing wrong. Such a shame for the pair of them. Gravett will be happy though, as he found his way through the chaos and is now in 6th position. Graf also up to 7th. And here is Carlo Messina, Kappa's teammate, behind Halal. This is the battle for 10th position then. I've just been told, and we can see it on the screen there, Kappa in the pits. He's decided to retire the car. So it is such a shame because it was on for a good haul of points. I said he can bounce back. He is the kind of driver to do just that. It seemed like it was going to be a nice bounce back for him. And yeah, what a shame it had to end that way. Let's see how he can go for race number 2, though. He's not out of it. That will promote the likes of Barella, Axon, Dentella. So they're 12th, 13th, 14th now. This is the gap out front. Only 5 tenths separating them, half a second. And then you can see the time. It goes up and down. That's just the Constantina effect as cars brake and accelerate. O'Grady's found himself really close behind Kershaw now with the battle for the final podium spot. That's going to hot up, I'm sure, as we've got less than 9 minutes on the clock. O'Grady with the fastest lap, with the lap record as well around here, so certainly has the pace to do it. But of course, it is one thing to catch up to another driver. It is then another task to get the move done. Not always the easiest thing to do. This is Graf and Cripps. So Cripps has gone back up to racing speed now. He's got his sister teammate in Hoffman behind. Is Graf going to go defensive? He is. Now Cripps switches back to the inside line. Graf also there sort of hanging to that defensive line, so keeping the position as they make their way through 6 and 7. Up onto the banking though now. Graf just about holding on to 7th, but Cripps in hot pursuit. Should see the gap close ever so slightly as they get up to top speed. Of course, Graf punching the hole in the air, so slipstream will definitely come into play. Through the bus stop, look how close he is to the back of that sky blue Porsche. Almost like the ocean meets the sky, isn't it, when you look at the horizon? Cripps has dropped back slightly, though, out of the exit there of the bus stop. Graf got the better. Half a second is the gap between them. Hoffman actually got a fantastic Le Mans chicane. He's now closed right up to the back of Cripps. Over the start-finish line. Lap number 11 for these guys. Who's going to get it done right on the braking? Down the inside line. That's a very wide line for Graf. It's caught Cripps unaware. Hoffman potentially down the inside now. Into the chicane of turn number 2. Still going to be at it side by side. And Cripps just about pulling ahead once again. Touch and go stuff there for Callum Cripps. Almost got caught out by Graf's racing line. Did very well to avoid him and not to spin at the same time. Fantastic car control. I think I've praised him many a times for that. But he certainly does possess it. Ooh, there you go. That was a nice dazzle of sunlight in your eyes at home. Certainly got me. This is the battle between Kurjan and O'Grady's. Alan Axon is in the pits. Just saw a yellow flag. I wonder if he is retired from the race with something. Not too sure, but I'm getting confirmation. Yes, he did. I don't know what happened there, but either way, Alan Axon also out of this race. So 13 drivers left. Just get to the checker flag and you will pick up some points. The gap between Kurjan and Tokarev is also practically nothing. This is the top 4 here. Only about a second and a half separating all of them. And as we get just about to the 5-minute mark, as Rich whispers in my ear that we're going to have a reverse top 6. So the top 5 here, which we've pretty much been, well, it's top 4 now, but it was the top 5 for an awful long time. They'll be, of course, in that top 5 still. And then Chris Gravett will be just jumped to the front and they'll all switch around. But the racing action has been so close here. The top 6 really are, I think, the class of field to beat. So I think when we get to race number 2, it should be a similar sort of story, but of course things will be switched around, so Weyer won't have an easier time of getting away on pole position. He'll have to fight his way through some very quick competition in Tokarev, Kurjan, O'Grady, Hurtus and Gravett if he wants to try and get a back-to-back win. He hasn't done it just yet though, still less than 5 minutes to go, but he's certainly in the prime position to do it. Barely anything separating these guys. I wonder who has done the best on tyres. That's going to be interesting to find out. Well, we can see in the chat. So Alan Smith is nice to know the auto engine start doesn't work in these cars. His old button box wasn't detected, so unfortunately, I think it was he spun and the engine cut and just couldn't get it going. So it's a real shame, Alan. Yeah, it's an unfortunate way to go out. Let's hope race number 2 will fare you some better results, and we'll see how you get on for that one too. And Jordan Osborne, not racing here this evening, but nice to see you in the chat, and big shout out to you. Thanks for letting us know. And Rich, I'm sure you'll be lovely to know this one, but yeah, he says it looks fantastic. The sun, the setting, and the cars all look incredible, and I'm inclined to agree with him. Top 4, still nothing between them when you think about it. Tokarev getting a little bit slidey out of the horseshoe, but getting it away easily enough. 3.5 minutes. I think this is the pot beginning to bring to a boil now. Certainly hoping for some good soup. Have to wait and find out though. Or did someone light a firecracker and chuck it in? Who knows? Onto the banking then for the 13th time. I think my prediction of 14 laps might go out the window. I think they're going to get one extra here, so I reckon about 15 when I look at it. This is the battle slightly further back for 7th place. This is Graf, Cripps and Hoffman. Graf still doing a fantastic job keeping Cripps behind. Hoffman flashing the lights there as the sun still continues to set. Ooh, there it is. does give you a fantastic sort of, not quite twilight yet, of course we're in sunset sort of timing, but the lights are on for the headlights, I should say, for the cars are on, just to help them see round. The floodlights should be on for the circuit themselves. I found out a very interesting fact about them. It takes about $250 an hour to light the area of Daytona with all the floodlights that they have. So if you think your energy bill is expensive, take a look at this venue, because yeah, astronomical prices. Weyer putting out a little bit of a gap now, 1.3. He's just giving himself that little cushion, a little buffer. If you follow two-wheeled racing, it's very Pecco Bagnaia of him, just managing the pace. As this is Cripps finally getting through on Kyle Graf there into turn number 1. Will we see Graf try and fight it back here into the International Horseshoe? No, we will not. Maybe Hoffman, though, will try and get past him as well, as that was a move there, I think, from Kurjan, trying to stay ahead of O'Grady. O'Grady, though, has now managed to get through on the Brabham driver, and O'Grady up into the podium spot. I don't know what's happened to Kurjan. He's dropped back ever so slightly, a second between him and O'Grady now. An ultimate lap, so not much time left in this. Make your moves and make them count. Cripps hopefully going to try and skip away from Graf now in 7th. He is also, though, looking in his rearview mirrors because he's got Hoffman keeping him company there. This is the battle for 8th, you can see in front of your eyes. Going to jump forward, though. This is the battle between O'Grady and Kurjan. Slipstream in effect. Kurjan going slightly higher there around the banking. And I do not know what's going on here. Is this O'Grady's coming in? What has happened there? No, please don't tell me it's happened again for O'Grady. He's coming to pit lane. He must have picked up a warning somewhere around the circuit. I think that's him receiving a drive-through. Let's see if he comes back out on circuit. It's the final lap now. Weyer with a comfortable lead of a second. Still not impossible to break that, as that's late there from Hoffman. Does he get it stopped? My word, yes he does. Down the inside of Graf and absolutely caught him napping. I don't think he was expecting it, though. I certainly wasn't. My. Tobias Hoffman. Absolute killer on the brakes. Being told and confirmed, yes, it was a penalty for O'Grady. It's a real shame for him. I feel like that's 2 weeks on the... Well, I say on the bounce, of course. I mean, 2 weeks ago when we were at the Oschersleben, I think he also had a similar issue there. If it wasn't there, he certainly has had it before. It's a real shame because he was on for an absolute fantastic performance. I'm being told Bahrain. There we go. My memory somewhat there, but not quite. Either way, let's have a look through the final time through the bus stop here in race number 1. Acida Weyer, he's probably not going to get challenged now unless for some reason he runs out of fuel. Don't know why he would, unless he did mess that one up. But either way, round the banking then. And it's going to be a victory for Sido to start his evening off. Tokarev going to come home second. Kurjan is third, a little bit further back. And then Hertus, Gravet, 4th and 5th. But they are still battling incredibly hard. Look at this, side by side through the banking as they come down towards the bus stop chicane. We don't normally see fights into the bus stop for position. Potentially going to see it now, though. Or I'm getting it completely wrong because it's over the line. Apologies for that. It was out the exit of the bus stop. Either way, Gravet just about got ahead of Hertus. Cripps is through for 6th, Hoffman 7th in the end, and Graf will happily take 8th, I think, in that one. This is between Messina and Barella then. This is the battle for P9. Can Barella get alongside and maybe sneak the extra position at the end? He's looking for it, but Messina just about takes it home. O'Grady's going to come home 11th, already in pit lane. Not a happy bunny. Then Teller is going to be the final driver to take the checkered flag. And we was told, well, I was told, I should say, I'm telling you now, Uhalal retired. But he will, I'm sure, be classified for 13th, as it was on the final lap. Then Teller to the line. Oh, he's going to take it nice and slow by the looks of things. Or is that him in the pits? Is him in the pits? Apologies. There he goes. Fantastic. Well, race number 1 done and dusted here at Daytona, and Cedar Waya came out on top to take another victory to add to his fantastic tally this season. Vlad Tokarev will have to be happy with second, and Johan Kurjan managed to snatch that podium in the end after that race-long battle with O'Grady. Chris Gravett, though, was 4th, and Sebastian Hurtis finished where he started in 5th. Callum Cripps is 6th, with Tobias Hoffman 7th. Kai Holgraf 8th, Carlo Messina 9th, and Nicholas Borelli is rounding out that top 10. Bottom part is going to be Alex O'Grady. Unfortunately, had that penalty, will finish 11th in the end, though, still picking up some points. Matteo Dentella will be 12th, and Raider Uhalal, it does say they're DNF. I would imagine he will be classified for that one and get some points, but either way, 13th for him. And then we have Alan Axon, Alessandro Kappa, Samuel Newhouse, and Alan Smith are non-finishers, and hopefully we'll see them return for race number 2, which will be coming up very shortly indeed. So stick around, don't go too far, because we're going to have 25 more minutes on the clock and some more fantastic racing action. See you in a short moment. Hello everybody, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed your brief interval there between races 1 and 2. We've just got the grid all set up and ready to go. Rich just had to double check to make sure he had it all locked and loaded, and he certainly did. So cars and drivers just getting set up onto the grid now, and once again we'll have that fantastic formation lap before we get going under green racing conditions. And certainly looking forward to the second part of this. Certainly when you have drivers such as Cedar Ware starting down in 6th position, and he's got a lot of quick drivers in front of him. So let's see how this goes. I've also just been told and confirmed. So apologies if you were if you do remember what I said in race number 1. It was a top 9. I'm being told it is now instead of the 6 that I mentioned. So it does mean that there's going to be a few more cars in front of Way, as you'll be starting in 9th. I believe that puts Messina up into pole. But let's take a look at the grid as they make their way round for the formation lap. Pretty sure it's going to be Messina. It certainly looks like his car on the front row. Yes, it certainly is indeed. That lovely green and Italian little sticker on the rearview wing. Kyle Graff is going to be second, keeping him company. And then we get the all Brabham Motorsport second row there of Hoffman and Cripps. We then have Sebastian Hertes 5th once again for his Porsche. And then Chris Gravett in 6th. 7th was Kurjan, and 8th was Tokarev. Way is going to be 9th with Nicholas Borelli, that rounding out the top 10 there. Alex O'Grady will be 11th with Matteo Dentella, 12th on the 6th row. Raider Uhalau and Alan Axon will take up the 7th with 13th and 14th. And Alessandro Kappa and Samuel Newhouse 15th, 16th on the 8th. And on their own at the back, Alan Smith. And Alan did message us in the chat once again, so big shout out to you there, Alan. Thanks for interacting and getting involved. And he's just very happy that the cars are, of course, a bit snappy and a bit of a handful to drive. And he doesn't mind that he's a little bit further down the back. He's just enjoying the fun challenge. And I think that is a fantastic philosophy to stand by when going racing. Sometimes you can't always be the quickest man on the circuit unless you are a machine bred for it, like Max Verstappen. And some days you'll have your good races, some days you will have your not so good races, and effectively, as long as you're enjoying yourself the whole way around, that is the most important thing. They've just exited the bus stop chicane, or the Le Mans chicane, if you're a bit more part of the younger sort of audience, and rounding the banking, so they'll get ready on to the front stretch, 18 degrees of banked turn as they line up for race number 2 here, and I'm sure we'll see them all angle it slightly downwards towards the apron, as that momentum will certainly help them. Interestingly, they don't seem to have done it as much this time around. I say that I'm spying Cripps in the background there, just off under the timing tower, slightly angled towards the apron. Yeah, look at that. A little bit more of a downward look about him. The rest of them, though, pretty much line astern. But here we go. Klaxon will sound in just a moment's time. A couple of seconds until we get going green. And there they go. The top row once again getting a pretty decent getaway. But I think the better getaway there was from Hoffman. Just had nowhere to go about it. And stays third for the time being. But he's going to have that inside line. Graff getting swallowed up by the pack and by Brabham Motorsport itself. Hoffman, Cripps, Kurjan all down the inside of the sky blue of Graff. Weyer is through on him as well. So 4 Brabham cars down the inside of Graff into turn number 1. Poor fellow seems to be losing a bit more ground as well. Gravet's through on him now as 2. I think Tokarev also finding his way by. What a start from Weyer though. He went from 9th to 5th in the space of pretty much one corner. Fantastic getaway from him, showing you why he is that championship leader, as that looks to be O'Grady down the inside. Hurt is struggling to get away here at the start, bogged down clearly, and is now currently sitting 11th, but still plenty of chances to be had as we get onto the oval part of the circuit for the first time. Messina still leading from the all Brabham 2, 3, 4, 5 of Hoffman, Cripps, Kurjan and Weyer. That is quite a sight to see. And then we get to Gravett, Tokarev, O'Grady, Uhalau 9th. Graf is now 10th after starting 2nd. Hurtis is 11th, Borelli 12th, Kappa, Newhouse, Dentella, Axon and Smith into the bus stop chicane for the first time. A sea of blue and white lined up behind Carlo Messina. He clipped the grass on the exit. I think he's going to lose a lot of momentum here as round the outside goes Hoffman. Cripps no doubt going to try and follow him, but that inside line, you shorten the circuit. And just like that, you manage to keep the position. There's no way they're going to think about going 3 wide. Surely not. Messina, Cripps, Hoffman down the start-finish straight. Hoffman finally ahead. Cripps going to try and follow him round the outside. Where is Kurjan going to go? That's the big question, I think, under the braking zone. Hoffman wide, Messina back through. Cripps trying to go the up and under also. They fan out as they make their way through turn number 2. And Messina still leading. Cripps tries it down the inside of the horseshoe. Can he find a way through? I think he's finally done it. Yes, he has. Kurjan managing to slip through as well. And Hoffman, I think, is about to be passed by Weyer and Tokarev right there, trying to get into the mix. Into the West Horseshoe. That's a slight tap in the back from Weyer into Messina there. Didn't do enough to unsettle anything though, so no harm, no foul. Tokarev managed to get through on Hoffman as well. That's O'Grady fighting with Gravett slightly in the background on the exit of 6 and 7. Uhalau trying to get into this fight. O'Grady through on Gravett. Gravett losing a little bit of ground and speed out of the exit onto the banking. Down this back straight, can Uhalau maybe pull up alongside that unlimited car? Had a little look about it. Played the sensible game. Tucked back in. Make sure you focus on your exit. And then see what you can do down at turn number 1. Cripps leads from Kurjan in 2nd. Messina still hanging on to 3rd, but he's under pressure from Weyer in 4th. Tokarev in 5th. Hoffman has lost a bit of ground now. He's in 6th position. Smith is up to 14th. Better start from Alan Smith. Into turn number 1. Messina looking to try and defend with all his might. Let's see how long he can hang on to this one. I think if outright pace and qualifying is anything to go off of, he is a little bit out of sorts. Way down the inside into the international horseshoe. Tokarev trying to follow him through. It's going to be tricky as you get here to turn number 4 of the dogleg. Quick left-hander, clip the apex. You are flat out through the corner as well. Late on the brakes. Oh, that was very late for O'Grady. Little bit of a door bang. I think he's going to get that move done, you know. Hoffman, I don't really think he had a chance to react to it. O'Grady's given it up. I think that's the fair thing to do. I think he just got a bit caught out by Hoffman in front. And O'Grady thought, well, I've got nowhere else to go but down the inside. He luckily got it stopped, and I think he's now going to get the move a little bit more legitly than the first time of trying. O'Grady through, Hoffman down to 7th, and Gravett just watching on board for the moment. No way he's going to go for it here. No, he had a look, thought about it. Disapproving flash of the lights there for Hoffman, but O'Grady is through. Messina under pressure from Tokarev now. 0.1 is the gap between the pair of them. And there's not a big gap between these guys here. This is Hoffman and Gravett as they come down the front stretch over the start-finish line. Gravett up high and Hoffman down low. Who's going to be later on the brakes though into turn number 1. It swings to the left, so Hoffman with the advantage. Gravett going to try and sweep it. A real big advantage there though for him. Uhalau lurking, trying to get potentially into the mix of this one. The field very much closely bunched together still. I think Tokarev was getting a little bit squirrely out of turn number 3 there, as that's a car off onto the grass. That's Carlo Messina being, well, practically barged out the way by Alex O'Grady. See how the stewards think about that one, but everyone's still facing in the right direction, so that's the main thing. Callum out in the lead. He's got some fantastic fans in the chat. Wishing him well, cheering him on. Always a fantastic sight to see. He leads from Kurjan still by half a second. Weyer not far behind Kurjan now. 0.3 of a second between, well, about a second between that top three, in fact. Tokarev fourth, O'Grady now fifth and chasing him. You can see him there at the foreground. This is between Gravett and Hoffman, though, we're looking at. This is battle for 6th and 7th, you could say. There you go, top three once again now. Onto the back end of the banking then for the 4th time. Callum Cripps currently holding the fastest lap by some, well, just over a tenth from Cedo Weyer. And I don't know what has happened to Samuel Newhouse, but he's in the pits. We can only imagine that he has DNF'd. That's 2 in a row for him. Such a shame. Have to hold his head up high and bring himself back up and into the fight for the final round. Into the International Horseshoe. Gap closing in between the front three there. Not a lot separating them. Looks like you can wrap them all in a big hug. This is Graf and Kappa, though. And Graf letting Kappa through into the dogleg. Didn't want to fight that one too hard. Just wants to make sure he can bring that car home by the looks of things at the moment. And there's that front three once again. It's a Brabham Motorsport 1, 2, 3. How about that? I'm sure the team boss is going to be absolutely loving this one. Lap number 5 and on to the banking then for the first time this lap. 0.4 separates all three of them. It looks like a processional finish there at the moment. They've still got over half this race to go, though, so fireworks could and should still happen as we get deeper into this race. O'Grady very close to the back of Tokarev there in the battle for 4th, only 0.4 separating those two. Hoffman still defending from Gravett. He's in fact close up to the back of Messina somewhat. And here we are still looking. This is the mid-car incursion in this battle for the lead. Over the start finish, you can see the banking there, the undulation of the tarmac. Oh no, we're being told O'Grady's got a DNF. I don't know what has happened. We can't see it, unfortunately, but yes, he's in the pits. And a bad night has just got even worse for him. Such a shame because he had such pace. But it does give a sigh of relief to Vlad Tokarev, who he was chasing down at the time. But either way you look at it, O'Grady is out, and we've lost a second car here this evening. Nothing separating that front three at the moment. We'll pick that back up in just a short minute's time. This is the battle here, though, between Messina for 5th, Hoffman in 6th, and Gravett in 7th. 3 cars. It could be 4 if Halal gets a little bit of a hurry on there, but he's not far behind. He's just lying in wait and watching on to see where and when he can pick up the pieces, should it all fall to that. Once again, not a lot separating these guys either. The gap between Cripps and Kurjan up front now is 0.2 tenths of a second, so that's tantalisingly close. This is Gravett, though, same distance from the back of Hoffman as they make their way through the bust of Hoffman there, getting a little bit wide in the first part, but managed to clean it up for the second, up to pace, and not going to cause him any issues there. And let's just see how this slipstream unfolds as you go round the banking, get the car up to top speed, around about 290 kilometers an hour by the time they reach the end of it, and hard onto the brakes into turn number 1. Here we go, though, through the front stretch, over the start-finish line, and now dip it off the banked corner onto the flat stuff. and hard on the brakes. This is the battle, though, between Cripps and Kurjan out front. Kurjan has managed to find a way through then into turn number 1. Let's see if Cripps can fight it back, though. The 3 of these guys all have similar pace. And this then does become a battle of wits. And we know Callum Cripps, he's such a young man, such talent at such a young age as well. Really is impressive stuff to see. Into turn number 6. Nothing separating this front 3. Bumper to bumper, Brabham to Brabham. Onto the exit of 7 and onto the banking. 0.3 between Kurjan and Cripps, 0.4 between Cripps and Weyer. Tokarev a little bit further off, 1.5 between him and Weyer. Tokarev waiting for sparks to fly, I'm sure. Gaps have managed to open up a little bit between the rest of the field, but we'll keep an eye on them. If they start closing in, and I will be sure to jump right to where the action is. As O'Grady has retired, and we will mention that unfortunately, but it was being told and confirmed he was given a drive-through for taking too much of the apron at the start of this race. So it was a drive-through for O'Grady, which has resulted in a DNF because he probably just felt like there was no way back from it. So it's a shame once again to lose such a quick driver at the front of the field, but sometimes that is just the way it goes. And we'll be looking forward to see how he can bounce back into the final round of the season. Here we go, though. Alan Smith and Alan Axon, the Allens together on the circuit. And we can see there the Craven Racing colours, orange and blue. Mighty fine machine indeed. I won't take it away from the Unlimited Esports car either, though, because they all are fantastically designed cars out there. I just have a particular liking to that Craven Racing. I think it's just the orange really pops on the Porsche. It could be because it's overlaid on the silver underside there, but either way, I think it looks rather nice. And here we go, Dentella and Barella having a little go side by side into turn number 6. Oh, a little bit too much side by side, ending at a little bit of contact there on the exit of 7 as well, and onto the banking now. And I don't know what happened there, but Axon has managed to get ahead of Smith. So the Allens have swapped it round. Smith now 13th and Axon up to 12th. Cena still holding on really well, though. He's done 15 minutes of it so far. Clearly has some pace about him. Let's have a look at his lap times here. I've got personal best from him in this session, a 1:45.7 compared to, let's say, Tokarev, who is in 4th, the next car up the road, 45.2. And then the front 3 are sort of in a class of their own, 44.8 and 9. So they really are maximising their pace there. So Tokarev keeping them very much in check is really impressive stuff as well. But yeah, Messina, a 45.7 is his best. That's matching Hoffman behind. And Gravett as well. He's a 45.4 is his best, but he's struggling to find a way through. So Messina doing enough, has enough pace under him to be able to hold these two back, and he's doing a very good job of it indeed. 5th position will bring him a nice chunk of points should he finish there as well. He'll be very happy with that, I'm sure about it. Another driver doing a brilliant defensive drive is Raider Uhalal, currently here for 8th. He's keeping Kappa at bay. And this is the battle for 8th position. And again, these two have also been pretty close on circuit the entire race long so far. And I think it's just about playing the long game, really, when you think about it. You kind of want to get it done in the final few minutes, so your rival doesn't have a chance to try and slipstream it back past, as that was a little bit out of shape there for Kappa, skipping over the grass, losing a bit of momentum, And so Uhalau can, I think, breathe a sigh of relief just for the moment there, but it is still 0.4 between the pair of them. As Messina, Hoffman, Gravett, barely anything separating these guys slightly further up the road from Uhalau and Kappa. Down to turn number 1, you can see there the various different racing lines drivers like to take. Some like to cut it in and take a tighter sort of entry. Others really like to hang it out wide and then swoop it on round. But of course, you hang it out wide, it does invite an overtake to the car behind. You have to be careful about when you go for that differing racing line. Hoffman closed in slightly there at the horseshoe. But again, I think that's a bit of a concertina as we've got a yellow flag. That's Sebastian Hurtus dropping down the order. He's in the pits now. What has happened to Sebastian, I do not know. Either way, it looks to be that he is out of this race. Uhalau still defending well from Kappa, but I think this could be inevitable that Kappa gets past here. Uhalau getting it a little bit loose on the exit of 7. That's allowed Kappa to close right in as we go round the back stretch now on the banking for the moment. It's going to straighten up here. Can the slipstream effect kick in enough that he can try and get alongside towards the bus stop? We haven't seen a move here all evening long. I don't think we're going to see one on this occasion either, unfortunately. Through they go, neat and tidy. And back onto the banking once again. And yes, confirmation Hurtus has DNF. So we have lost another driver. Unfortunately, it was Sebastian who once again was doing a very good performance here for race number 2. Just not meant to be. 7 minutes left on the clock. Not long now. The gaps out front have opened up slightly. Kurjan is ahead by a second over Callum Cripps. Weyer is still third. Some 6 tenths off as well. Tokarev's keeping them all honest though, with only 9 tenths back to him in 4th. And then we get to this little battle here for 5th position. Messina hanging on for the time being and fending off Hoffman and Gravett. We know Hoffman and Gravett, very capable drivers, both with a win this season, I believe. I'm going to double check my facts on that one before I confirm it. Unfortunately, no win for Hoffman or Gravett from what I can see here. So apologies for that. I might be thinking of the touring car side of things, as that is our sister series, you can call it. Uhalau, though, still defending from Kappa here. Hard indeed, has that tighter line. Kappa almost into the back of Uhalau. Who's going to get the better exit? So tricky, it seems, to get the power down out the corner and find an advantage over your rival. And it does seem to be the slipstream effect is not as large as I was really expecting, potentially. They do seem to struggle to somewhat get alongside each other. One thing is for sure, though, this circuit definitely highlights who is more confident on the brakes. Particularly down towards turn number 1, the bus stop chicane, or the Le Mans chicane, however you refer to it as, and even the horseshoes as well. Kappa's going to duck down, take that inside line. This is Messina still defending from Hoffman. He's also taking that inside line and trying to hold Hoffman off. Makes him go wide. Hoffman's gone very wide. That's going to allow Gravett potentially with a chance here into turn number 2. Hoffman slams the door in his face. Uhalau is still ahead further back from Kappa into the international horseshoe. Gravett with the inside line clips the curb a bit too hard. Hop, skip and a bump. Loses a bit too much speed. Uhalau, Kappa, that's still scrapping away here out of the exit of the international horseshoe through the dog leg of 4. Can Kappa get late on the brakes? We've seen him get so close lap after lap through this particular corner, the western horseshoe. But Uhalau just about managing to position his car perfectly to stop Kappa from making a move. Turn number 6. Uhalau still ahead, Kappa with work to do. Messina is still ahead of Hoffman and Gravett further up the road, but barely anything separates those guys. Certainly feels like the longer form of endurance racing, this one. You're playing the long game with your rivals. You're not sending it at every single opportunity and corner like you normally do in sprintier formats or quicker formats of racing. And even though it is only 25 minutes, the sort of battles that are playing out do feel a bit more like it's 24 hours around this circuit. And of course, it is very famous for that. It hosts the largest sim racing event of the year. Again, unfortunately on the iRacing simulator, but either way, still the biggest sim racing event on the planet around here. Certainly is a spectacle. Took part in it myself, so I know this circuit well. And it is certainly challenging, particularly when the sun goes down. It's starting to set here once again. It's not going to get too dark, and they've got plenty of light about them. Gravett, closest he's been to the back of Hoffman here through the dogleg of 4. Can he get on the brakes later than his rival? Try and get it down the inside. Can he get it stopped to the apex first and foremost, though? He does. Unable to outbrake Hoffman as well, though. Has to hold fire. Wait a little bit longer. See if maybe a chance comes his way to pick up another position. Out front, the gap's still relatively stable. No big swings or changes there. Kurjan still leads. Cripps is second and Weyer third. Hoffman, flash of the lights, maybe not too happy with Messina's defending, but from what I've seen so far, nothing that he is doing wrong. Just is able to park that Porsche where he needs to. And look how close they are now. Gravett really got a great run out of the bus stop there. The problem here is you don't want to go up and wide because you're taking a longer line around. You end up effectively slowing down in a way. You kind of want to sit bumper to bumper unless you can do it down the front stretch here and then get them on the brakes into turn number 1. It's so tantalisingly close as they approach that zone now. Gravett going to try and have a look down the inside. Hoffman shutting the door. Can they all get it stopped into the apex? Yes, they can. No way through for Gravett for the time being, but he must be so frustrated in the cockpit. He gets so close, but just so far at the same time. Can't seem to find a way through. Hoffman trying different things now. Had a look around the outside there into the International Horseshoe. You don't often see that one being pulled off. The desperation starts to creep in and you do see these kinds of moves happening. Hoffman around the outside potentially again, but this is inviting Gravett to have a look down his inside. Who's going to get the better exit? Hoffman off onto the grass. This is the chance for Gravett. It's what he's been looking for. It should be easy as you like, but no! He's braked late. Hoffman down the inside. Gravett took avoiding action. And fair play, he probably scared the life out of him. And Hoffman manages to hang on to it, and Gravett's still stuck behind him. Fantastic, tantalisingly close racing, all on the final lap here. I'm pretty sure it's the final lap. We'll see where the leaders are. We may still get one more. Actually, looking at it, I think we are going to get one more. So still a chance then for Gravett to get past Hoffman. Messina's been given a little bit of a breather. The gap 0.7 between him and Hoffman. This is the front pack. We're going to get one more lap of racing, folks. Crosses the line, does Kurjan, to start the final lap now. There was no way he could have slowed them down to try and lose a lap there. He really had to be going for it all the way. This is Weyer behind Cripps then for the battle for second place. Tokarev not far back either. Are we going to see a lunge on this final lap? Kurjan pretty much checked out, 1.4. Has a nice little buffer. We're riding here on board with Weyer into the second horseshoe, the western one. Deep onto the brakes is Cedo. Getting it hooked it nicely into the apex still though. And looks to be closing slightly there on Cripps. Cripps seemed to be a bit deep on the brakes. Bit too deep on the brakes. That's allowed him to go down the inside for Weyer as Cripps went wide on the exit of 6. He's just lost the position for second spot. He's now potentially going to lose out to Tokarev for third. Could he have... Well, could he lose this podium spot altogether from that one small error? Up to the bus stop now. Final real proper overtaking opportunity. After that, it's all down to slipstream and just gritting your teeth. Through the bus stop they go. Kurjan, no problem at all. He's got a huge gap in front. Weir's not going to be troubled, I don't think, from behind. But Cripps could still lose out to Tokarev. The gap is 0.2 as they exit onto the banking for the final time. Is the slipstream going to come into play? This is all to lose for Cripps. It's all to gain for Tokarev here in the final corner as they round the straight onto the front stretch. Kurjan crosses the line to take this fantastic win for him. Fought hard for it. There goes Weir, and Cripps just about holds on. Messina does as well. 5th position for Messina. Hoffman's going to have to settle for 6th. And Gravett, I'm sure he's going to be disappointed with that 7th. But it was hard fought for. And here comes Uhalau. Brilliant defensive driving from him as well. Keeping Kappa at bay. Graf going to come home. Finishing that top 10. Has Kappa got a penalty? He's just dropped to 10th. Oh, I'll keep an eye on that one. I think the gap might be too far back, though, to Alan Axon here. He's just coming around onto the back stretch the front stretch. He has just come out of the bus stop. Over the line he goes, finishing the race. 10th position there for Axon. Then in the end, Kappa's dropped another one. What has happened to Kappa? Oh, no. Borrell across the line. Smith, 13th. I'm sure he'll be happy with the result in the end there as well. I think he is just here for the fun challenge. And fair play, I don't blame you. Don't quite know what's happened to Kappa. I've been told no penalty next to his name. So that might be one up for discussion after the race event itself. Either way, though, it says he's 11th for the time being. Still a decent result, but he fought hard for that 9th against Uhalau. Dentella crossing the line there. And that rounds out the second race of the night. Brilliant stuff up and down the field. Hard to know where to look, but either way, it's a Brabham 1, 2, 3. Incursion, Weir and Cripps. I'm sure the team boss is going to be singing their praises and singing for joy, no doubt, with the result this evening. Vlad Tokarev will be 4th and unfortunately just missing out on that podium. Kano Messina will take an impressive 5th in the end. Did some amazing defensive driving against Hoffman and Gravett, 6th and 7th. Raider Uhalau will be pleased with 8th and keeping Kappa at bay as well. Graf will be 9th and Alan Axon will be 10th. Alessandro Kappa there did finish 11th in the end, and Nicholas Borelli 12th. Alan Smith will be happy with 13th, up from 17th from his starting blocks. And Matteo Dentella 14th, and the final finisher of the evening. And we have Sebastian Hurtis, Alex O'Grady, and Samuel Newhouse. Well, that is going to be all we have time for here this evening. In terms of race in the Porsche Cups, we are destined to go to Le Mans, but we will have to wait in the next few coming days just to confirm that all the drivers are able to attend for that event, as you are no longer able to purchase it, unfortunately. But either way, stay tuned about that one because we will find out very shortly. If not, you can, of course, be here at the same time next week where we will head over to the final round of the Touring Car Championship in the sandy dunes of Zandvoort. But it will be back-to-back beaches because, of course, that is right up along the coastline. But don't go too far. Like I say, next week, Touring Cars, the final round there of that exciting series. And then the week after, the final round for this fantastic Porsche Cup series itself. Big thank you to our sponsors once again in Phoenix Sim Racing and Demon Tweaks. And that's going to be all from me this evening. So I'll say thank you very much. Hope you all have enjoyed watching and goodbye.